She's supposed to be here. But she usually calls it close, I know.
Hey, she's gonna be close.
She was here this morning. She was here for the commissioners
Well, I
meeting.
kind of look at it this way.
She'll come
Can't
right
do anything
in.
about getting older. The only thing I can do is work on getting
There she
better.
comes.
There's no exercise
Last
there.
minute.
Here she comes.
All right, there
No, you're not late yet.
she always drags her feet. You got one now going.
I was in that plan, I my husband calls it.
I was just asking Brenda if she was coming. Yeah. Well, she was here for a meeting this morning, I said. She'll be running this way.
I was in that plan, I come up and I said, he said, "Both did you give out the meeting?" I said, "What?"
You got one thing, she stole everyone quick today.
I kept looking at that state trooper, I was like flying.
I think we should change her name here.
I think, I don't think she looks like a sheriff.
Late,
She looks more like Lois.
late Joey.
I told them, Lois, I said, she always sits down here, but if Jared doesn't show up, she's gonna be sitting down here by herself. That's the only reason we switched.
Oh, that's close, because when she swims, she can't get hit.
No, that's true.
Okay.
Good evening. Welcome to the Grant County Board of Zoning Appeals for the meeting of June the 6th. If you would all please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Thank you. Okay, Brenda, would you give us a roll call, please, for attendance?
Florence? Howell?
Yes.
Johnson?
Present.
Jones?
Here,
Long?
Here.
Maynard?
Yeah.
Hartman?
Here. Thank you. Have you heard from Jared?
Tried to call him Friday to ask him what was going on, never got a call back. Brenda tried to contact him today, same thing.
How many meetings has he missed?
I believe this is for,
this is,
I think 5 out of the last 6.
He's never been to one.
Well, BZA, no, he has not. He's been to one APC.
I think you need to go back to APC and ask for a member to replace him.
Okay.
Okay? Because he didn't return my contact either, so I sent him an email.
I talked to his stepfather on a job site, and he said he's just so busy with kids, he doesn't know why he ever, so.
Yeah.
I was hoping to have that conversation with him, but he
Right.
didn't call.
Plus, he was gonna be on both boards.
Right.
That's a bit much for,
Right.
okay. All right, very good. Ryan, Mr. Malat, would you read the minutes?
Okay. Minutes of the Grant County Area Board of Zoning Appeals for May 2nd, 2022. Public hearing of the Grant County Board of Zoning Appeals was held on Monday, May 2nd, 2022 at 6 p.m. on the first floor of the Grant County Office Complex at 401 South Adams Street, Marion, Indiana. Following members were present: Chairman Ed Hartman, Chip Long, Ron Howe, Vice Chairman Rex Maynard, Lois Jones, Bill Johnson. Jared Florence was absent. Staff present: Ryan Watt, Executive Director; Kyle Persinger, Attorney for Area Plan; Brenda Harrison, Executive Administrative Assistant; Aaron Ellsworth, Building Inspector; and Nicole Bailey, Code Enforcement Officer. 1, Ed Hartman brought the meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance. 2, roll call. Chairman Hartman asked if the Area Plan Office had heard anything from Mr. Florence. Director Malat noted that the office has not, but would contact Shane Middlesworth since Mr. Florence is the County Council's appointee. 3, approval of minutes. Chairman Hartman asked Director Malat to read the minutes for April 4, 2022. The minutes from April 4, 2022 were approved as submitted Motion made by Mr. Maynard, Mr. Johnson seconded. Members Chip Long, Rex Maynard, Lois Jones, Ron Howe, and Bill Johnson voted yes. Number 4, finding of facts, 4.1, April 4, 2022, docket 04, BZA V-22, Jeff and Brenda McVicker. Ms. Jones made a motion to accept the finding of fact. Mr. Long seconded. Members Chip Long, Rex Maynard, Lois Jones, Ron Howe, and Bill Johnson voted yes. Number 5, public hearings. 5.1, docket 01, SP-22. Public hearing, name for Priscilla Houston. Address 613 Fairmount Avenue, Fairmount, Indiana. Zoning district residential 1. Legal description being lots 3, 4, and 33.5 feet north side of lot 5 of Huntington Park Avenue and located in the southeast quarter of section 29 in Fairmount Township. Request to allow a tax business as a customary home occupation in an accessory building. Mrs. Houston presented her application. Chairman Hartman, Ms. Jones, and Mrs. Jones, and Mr. Johnson asked questions. Director Mott noted that the accessory building would be installed with building permit and up to Indiana code. There were no objectors. The public hearing was closed. Motion, Mr. Maynard motion to approve docket number 01 SP-22. Mr. Long seconded. Ron Howe, Bill Johnson, Lois Jones, Chip Long, and Rex Maynard voted yes. Motion carried. Number 6, old business, 6.1. Mr. Long asked Chairman Hartman about the Rules of Procedure Committee. Chairman Hartman stated that they have not set a time yet due to schedules and vacations. They will possibly get together the following week. Number 7, legal report, Mr. Persinger. Mr. Persinger had nothing to add. Director's report, Director Mott had nothing to add. Number 9, adjournment. There being no other business, Mr. Maynard motion to adjourn. Ms. Jones seconded. All in favor, meeting adjourned at 6:17 p.m.
I'll make the motion, we set the minute.
Prior to that, would you add that Mrs. Houston was advised that if she had a sign for her business, it would be in that district a 3-by-2 foot sign?
I'll make the motion with the correction.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Brenda, would you give us a roll call for that vote?
Howe,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones. Yes. Long,
Yes.
Maynard,
Yes.
Hartman. Oops, you don't need to vote.
Motion passed. Okay, and findings of fact for May 2nd. Priscilla Houston.
Operator in New York City.
Okay, have you read the findings of fact? Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the finding of facts.
Do we have
Second it.
second? Okay. Brenda, would you give us a roll call for
Howe,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Maynard.
Yeah.
motion passed? Is there any other old business?
Well, I'll ask the same question again. Have you been able to meet as far as the rules and regs?
No, we have not. We had a conflict with one of the members who was basically unable to meet in the month of May. But
That was
we'll
me.
get
I'll
together
bet it.
after the meeting and talk about
I'll-
possible meeting times.
Yeah.
So we can get moving on that again. Thanks for bringing that up. Is there any other?
I didn't do it on
business?
purpose.
I thought you would. Okay. All right. will move on to new business. And one thing I forgot, would you please silence your cell phones if you have not already done so? And we will move into new business. And the first one on the docket is O2SP-22, address 413 North Main Street, Sweetser, Indiana. Zoning general business. And do we have a representative from the Sweetser United Methodist Church here? And would you please come to the podium, sir? And if you would, sign in. Okay, gentlemen, would you give us your names, please?
My name is Tim Slaughter.
My name is Larry McDermott.
Okay, and gentlemen, would you tell us about your project?
Okay, we are in the process of trying to put a new electronic sign out in front of the church that can be controlled without having to go up and put letters on it every time when it's 0 outside. That's basically what it's all for in all reality. But we are looking at a sign that would be controlled as far as how bright it is, time it was on bright, so on and so forth. That's what we're all about, is to replace the old sign that's breaking up and replacing it with a new electronic sign.
You're gonna put it right back where the old sign was?
I believe so. That is something that's up in the talk to about. If you notice, if you look at the church, if you look on south, there's a flagpole, and it's been talked about there. But until we get this all approved, we hadn't really decided yet.
Okay.
So can I do some background a little bit?
Yes, you can give us some
So,
introduction there to it as well.
If you remember, the Sweetser Methodist Church had come to us 2-3 months ago?
These three different.
Three, to talk to us about installing this digital and animated sign. At that point, we had talked to them about the digital sign ordinance. So they had held off until we could get the digital sign ordinance through the county. That has been done. Sweetser approved the digital sign ordinance on 5/12/22. They also, the Sweetser Town Board also approved the rezoning of the church property to general business, which would allow, by special exception, the digital sign to come in. So it is, they have adopted the ordinance. It is now allowed in general business by special exception. So now they are trying to take that final step to the BZA to get the digital sign in. And also Sweetser did, not only did they rezone to general business, they did hear this again for the sign and did put it forward to the BZA with a favorable recommendation.
Now, are there any regulations on how close it can be to the street?
It would be normal setbacks.
Normal setback in this location is what?
I believe it's 2 feet from the leading edge of the sign has to be 2 feet from the right of way.
So there's a sidewalk there. And the sign that's currently there is close to the sidewalk, right? I was out there one morning and I noticed the sign, and the sign that you put up for the public hearing, I noticed was in the bush.
You can see it.
You can see
You
it.
can see it.
Not all of it,
It's evidently,
most of it.
if the legs had broke off, evidently, a wind or something.
Okay. All right.
That was
a good reason.
That's
That
it.
that
I thought I
happened to
brought
be
it,
the second,
yeah.
excuse me, that happened to be the second sign. The first
Yeah.
sign I got to put up, they shoveled snow, and when they shoveled snow, they tore the sign down and put snow on top of it. So,
I thought
We did it
said
again.
two.
Yes. Okay, yes. Okay, all right. Normally, we would want to know your plans for where a sign would be. You know, but if you tell us it's going to be along this road here and that you're gonna abide by the setbacks and,
I think that's a
and
problem.
then when you get your plan settled, file it, if
Okay,
you would, with
It will be a
a
sign.
lot.
Yeah, but make sure they've got that location.
Right.
Yeah,
it's probably gonna go where the old sign was, but that can be
okay,
moved forward and back to.
all right. Then I believe there were some hours of operation that you specified, like it would shut down at 10 p.m., is that correct?
That can be adjusted from a computer. It's all
Okay.
computer controlled.
All right. Have the neighbors been notified?
Yes, twice.
Okay.
One of the things I noted for the petitioner's original request, they withdrew. Area planners received no opposition to this petition, although there was some concern with the sign being located in an area surrounded by R3 and R4. Our big question was, is there any opposition going to show up?
Okay. Does the board have any other questions?
Was there anything about from the Department of Transportation, because that's kind of a main thoroughway that we're gonna be using?
It'd be Sweetser, it's not in Indiana.
Okay.
No, it's state highway or nothing. I do have a question for you, Ryan. Is this a new application?
Yes, they withdrew the first one and went
And this is a brand new application?
for rezoning and then now for a special exception.
You didn't charge them another $100?
No,
Okay,
we did.
all right.
They've been very patient, wonderful, they've kept in touch.
Because they come in the first time.
Well, they were late the first time.
And we
They were
took,
real late the first time.
and then we told them because the way our ordinance ran, they could not put a sign up there.
Right.
So they withdrew their petition until we straighten our ordinance.
well, to clarify your comment, sir, as far as being late, I was told what time to be at the meeting, and another representative from the church attended that meeting. I told him what they told me for the time, and that's why he was late. It wasn't, we were given the wrong time to be there.
We always meet at 6 o'clock, around the money.
Well, then you need to talk to
We
somebody
think-
upstairs.
Yeah, we think they might have talked to Grace, our new secretary.
I don't think we want to give them trouble, we're not into that.
No,
But I did go, we all went and looked at the church. How did you get so close to downtown? Or where is downtown? What do you consider downtown? I know we had R1, right? We started with R1.
Well, we have 2 blocks,
Yeah, there's not very much, it's real close, and I don't know where downtown
Yeah,
is. Is it
it's-
a real road, or is it?
they've got a block away general business and then a block and a half this way general business. And then there's 1 block that is residential.
Okay, that's weird, that's,
Yeah, that's, I think.
somebody was late at a meeting on that one too. Probably. Nope. That's all the questions I have, right?
Well, from your original thing, you were gonna put it where the sign is now. And I'd like that you went beyond that and be able to control the brightness, and you can dim it. That was a question we asked before, and the gentleman didn't know those kind of information at the time, but I'm glad you went that far.
Yeah, we done a lot of investigating on that to make sure we had that down.
Okay, we have a new sign ordinance. Does it specify how often a digital sign can change?
It has to hold every 8 seconds. It can't be running. If it breaks down, the sign has to automatically shut down. One luminaire over ambient light. I'm trying to think of it. It's gotta be almost every one of them.
Over ambient light in the
And
area?
1 foot candle, yeah.
That's not very bright.
It's brighter than you think.
It'd have to be brighter than I think.
Yeah.
Because I'm not thinking 1 luminaire is very bright.
Over
Ambient.
over current light.
Yeah. Okay. Is that understood?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's pretty standard. It's the ones that's got it up at 100 that flash the white light and blind you that we're
Yeah, we were
concerned
talking
with.
about it, like, oh, I can see that.
Okay. Are there any other questions from the board?
Is there any opposition?
I'll get to that next.
Okay, I want to make sure.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. You may be seated.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Is there anyone here in opposition to this petition? If not,
I would note we had no opposition at the town board meeting and no opposition at the area plan commission meeting either.
all right. Is there any discussion amongst the board members? I would ask for a motion.
I'll make the motion, we accept it.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second. Okay, motion by Mr. Maynard and a second by Mr. Howe. Brenda, would you give us a roll call?
Powell,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Maynard,
Yes.
Motion passed. You're granted your request, sir. Thank you both for doing things the right way, going through the process. Appreciate it.
For your next step, you can carry on.
Okay. Next docket, 03SP-22, Mickey and Holly Eccles, address 2729 Schildmeyer Road, Marion, zoning agriculture. Would you step up, please, to the podium and sign in? Yes, sir. Ryan, would you like to begin?
Sure.
Give us a little introduction.
So this is a petition for a special exception for Mickey and Holly Eccles. They are wanting to put an auto repair shop in agricultural zoning, which is allowed by special exception. They through their process, they went through the commissioners meeting this morning for a rezoning, to rezone it to agricultural. And then on the special exception, the commissioners put it forth to the BZA with a favorable recommendation. The property is located at 2729 Shellmeyer Road, Marion, Indiana. Some of the staff notes, again, asking is there any opposition? The home and property is very isolated. There is a large area of residential 1 surrounding the home. All of that area is being used for agricultural use. So although it's R1, it's all farm fields. A quarter-mile away is a large area of agricultural, so it's not too far away from agricultural. It's out there around Forest Ridge, and those properties, those subdivisions out there, it looks like that we had zoned in the past a large area for R1, but only used a small portion of it. Noted, there are several square miles located around property that are zoned R1. From our original conversation, we had talked about it being more of a hobby or a classic car type shop, but he would like to do a small auto repair. I took several pictures so that you could see in every direction around the pole barn that he's proposing to use as an auto body. The closest home or residence to this property is over a quarter-mile away. It is basically in the center of a square mile.
Yes, sir. I was by your property, and there is no one very close to you.
Sure.
And you're using existing buildings, I take it? Okay. And is there anything you'd like to add to the introduction?
I just wanted to start a small auto repair business there, and I take excellent care of my property. Don't have any intentions to trash it out by any means, downgrade the property value by any means under the sun. So just a small auto repair shop's all I'm after. So.
Okay. Are there any other questions from the board?
Yes. What about traffic that's gonna be coming to your business, you know?
What do you mean?
How many customers, are you expecting a large amount of people to start
I
coming
just
in?
want to start off small. If it gets too big, I would have all intentions to try to find a building in town. So if we outgrew that location.
Gonna do just automobiles and pickup trucks and
Yes, sir.
farm
Yep.
equipment?
Mainly just auto, yeah. Yeah.
We're most definitely in the middle of the field.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. It's pretty private back there, that's for sure.
Especially if the corn gets big and.
Exactly, absolutely. Yep.
Will there be any requirements for parking, customers or anything like that?
We wouldn't ask for it because it's not gonna have public in it.
Okay.
And he could probably get about 20 cars in that pole
Yeah,
barn.
that's right.
So.
Okay, any other questions from the board? Okay, sir, you may be seated.
Thank you.
Is there any opposition to this petition?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Sign in, please.
Mr. Hartman, board members, my name is Joe Chambers. I live just adjacent of this property on Troy Avenue, 2724 North Troy Avenue. The tip of my property is probably a quarter to a third of a mile away from his pole barn and his operation back there. I am greatly concerned about the approval of this business going in. I have had firsthand experience of seeing these types of businesses operate out of home properties. Small business starts out with a few cars, next thing you know, you've got a lot of cars, a lot of machinery going on. I built my house back in 2006, put about $300,000 into that property, adding on a building, and I just am greatly concerned about the noise factor. I'm concerned about the property value and how this is going to affect my property. Certainly concerned about the noise factor that can be operated from automobiles and the types of things, the machinery they'd be sharing. So I'm just concerned about it. Just heard about this yesterday. Had a neighbor call me and knew nothing about it up until yesterday afternoon, and I heard that that was on the agenda for tonight. So I just need to come down and share with you. I'm opposed to it. I think we're all agricultural out that way. We've been zoned for agriculture, and I think a business of this nature coming in is going to certainly be a detriment to that area. And I think it'll affect the property value of my home. I have 4 acres of timberland there behind me, and I've thought about parceling out some of that land, and certainly if I would, any parcel that would be divided up would be facing this property, and I think that would certainly create a problem for me selling that property. That's my objection.
Which direction are you from this?
I'm due west, due west and maybe a little bit south. Troy Avenue is also 200 west.
Okay, that's not shown on here. Is that correct?
I think that may be one of these.
That's me.
Right here.
My property right here. And that's him, right there, like I said, quarter to third of
Can you show us
It was just
where that is?
It's your aerial. It's in your aerial.
Yeah, this one here,
Right here.
right there.
There's-
Okay. There's,
I don't show that online. No, we got different pictures. Are you at 200?
I'm sorry?
Are you at 200? Is that your address?
My address is on 200 west, which is also Troy Avenue.
Yeah,
Sheldmeyer, I'm between Sheldmeyer and Lawson.
okay.
He's on the prospective gentleman that is wanting to upgrade the business is on Sheldmeyer, and I'm just around the corner from him.
Can we see that? All right. Because we don't have that.
But if you look at the back of the property, my property runs right straight through the field, about a quarter of a mile to a third of a mile
Soon
away.
we get to see it, no?
Okay.
But our
And-
pictures are, well, you got a good.
I thought you had
They
it.
all
No.
should be the same.
It should be the next page after that one. And then
Got
after
that
my
page.
small pictures.
Maybe front and back, right there.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what I was.
Aha!
Yeah, okay. Hey, you get too many pages for me, Brenda, that's tough.
okay, from looking at the top, which house is it?
Furthest north, there are 2. No, go back down. That block are 2 properties there.
Right.
I'm on the north, the top one there.
Okay,
And I did measure on Elevate distance between the 2. That is one of the homes. It is over a quarter of a mile. It's over 1,320 feet.
That's what I figured.
We got nifty computer.
okay. Does the board have any questions for?
I'm still not sure which one I'm looking at here.
Yes, this one right here, right
Okay,
there.
I got my finger on it, that's the one. Okay.
You guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would also share, if I thought that this was a kind of a operation where he'd be bringing in 1 or 2 cars, working on them and then moving them out, I would have no problem with that. But I could envision a property filled with, over time, a lot of cars and car parts and machinery that will be a visual detriment, I think, certainly to my property as well as a financial detriment.
Wasn't there farm implements before in that place? Not one, before him? Wasn't that a farming?
I don't know, it may have been,
Does anybody know?
I assume it would be.
I was gonna say, that's why you'd have.
It's all been agriculture ever since I've lived in the area, so I've not, I mean, obviously, we have combines and whatnot that are out seasonally in the fields. That's the only machinery
I'm
out
only worried about parking, because he's not gonna build a new building. He's already got it. So he'd have to have the room for 20 cars, is that pretty close?
No, I was using as an example, the pole barn is big enough, you could probably fit 20 cars inside of it.
And
Not
outside.
saying he's going to have 20 cars.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We got a lot of room there.
Yeah.
That's what I'm after.
Or have any other questions for this gentleman? Okay, sir, you may be seated.
Thank you, Mr. Hartman, board members.
Is there anyone else here in opposition or anyone else here in favor? Okay,
I have a question, if you're ready,
yes.
to go back to,
Just let me state, the public hearing's now closed.
Mr. Eccles should have a chance to rebuttal.
Rebut?
Okay,
and that's my question to him.
we'll reopen the public hearing. Mr. Eccles, would you like to say anything else?
I just have no intentions to leave anything set out.
Who does he want that?
Yeah, my intentions is definitely not to leave things sitting outside, and what will be outside will be parked nice and neat. I mean, I take super good care of my property, as anybody would notice driving by.
Before you owned that, was that a farm ground there?
Yes, yes,
And
there was a
combines
hog
and
farm
stuff?
years ago. So,
Okay.
They tore out several buildings that was there before we bought it. Like I said, vehicles that if I have, say, 6 vehicles there to be worked
Which
on.
we did own 6
they will
vehicles
get
at one
done,
time.
You know, and be kept care of. I'm not gonna downgrade nothing by any means under the sun. Like I said, we're not trying to start a junkyard.
And that's what I was concerned about, the cars, the customers that come to your shop and say they put their cars in the shop and then they don't come pick them back up for months or whatever, then these cars are there, then you're still having continuous cars coming in. And, that's kind of an issue for me.
Well, there is a second building there that we can park a vehicle if somebody would do that to us and lock it up and nobody would even see it there.
Absolutely.
My question is, do you have hours of operation?
Like 8 to 5 roughly.
8 to 5?
Yeah. Once we get going. So, I haven't advertised yet. I was wanting to get approved first before I proceed on, so.
Are you a licensed mechanic?
No, I've been turning wrenches for 20 years.
But our son is a diesel mechanic.
Okay, are there any other questions from the board? Thank you, sir. You may be seated.
Thank you.
At this time, we'll close the public hearing. And we can begin discussion amongst the board members.
I'm just not real comfortable with the fact that this type of business and that type of location and the people's property value for the people that are already there.
I don't see more, you live a mile down, or a fourth mile.
Pick up in area.
If he only lives a fourth mile down the road, or a mile.
On a different road.
And there ain't nobody around the body shop, and he says, I can't see no problem with it. Because, you know, it's not like I'm butting up, he's butting up to his neighbors, and neighbor says, I don't wanna see that next door.
Well, coming from a farming background, we had neighbors that were closer than a quarter of a mile, and we turn wrenches on equipment and beat on things, it would probably wake up people in the graveyard, but, I don't, in the location, I don't believe that would hinder the noise. I don't think it will.
Well, my question would be, you're not putting up a new building.
No.
This is a building already in existence. You would have to do some promises about, you know, what you're doing here. And you could be called to task if you don't follow the proper procedures. And the building is going to be there. And if you'd be willing to put farm equipment in it, repair farm equipment, I don't see much difference in doing that with an automobile or a truck.
The board can place conditions of approval.
I think you'd have to settle the time that the business will be open.
Will you have employees? Will you have employees?
Probably not to begin with.
Just my son.
Just you and your son?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You vouch for him?
Yes.
I would also note that it would have to stay within our noise ordinance also.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there would have to be some limitations placed on it.
What does the ordinance say about a sign here?
We'd have to advertise it. I mean, you'd have to advertise it, you'd have to know who's out there.
Right.
So you'd have to stay within the sign, size of the sign.
Right, I just wanted to hear
Oh, you want to hear it?
what we have.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
So that they'll know.
Okay.
That just gives the zones and then what they are.
I thought I had it right. 31. Okay. So general agricultural would be maximum total sign area per zone lot, 40 square foot, pertaining to products for sale upon the premises. Allowed one per lot, 40 square feet maximum sign area allowed. Maximum sign height 8 foot, 2 feet off of right of way. And if on building, maximum 20 square foot coverage.
Okay.
Would you be able to have a digital sign there?
With special exception.
You'd have to come and ask.
Or no, you wouldn't, not now. Only in business. Gotta remember land use, new table.
Okay, so 40 square foot signs, a maximum roughly 8 by 5, and 8 foot height is maximum height.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
I guess we didn't ask who owns the agricultural land that actually will be putting crops in that. Do you own that crop
No,
land?
Bettany's do.
David and Catherine Bettany's is Sioux Farms around us.
And that's who used to own our place.
Question I got here.
Yes.
If we set this, can we put a exemption if the business goes out, everything else goes away from it?
Well, the exception stays with the original owner
Yeah,
for as long as he is there.
yeah.
But once he leaves,
If he leaves, it does not stay with the property.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions or discussion? Okay,
if there weren't any letters sent out to any of the people that live in that area, he said he didn't receive a.
Yeah, we sent it to all adjacent properties. He actually lives 2 properties away.
he lives on a different
Yeah.
road.
Okay, so he-
So, but you got 2 neighbors on the side and the back of you. That's where they stand.
All right, would someone like to make a motion on board? You can include conditions if you so recommend them.
I make a motion that we accept it with condition. And one of them would be the hours of operation, 8 to 5. And the other would be any signage as far as advertising should be followed,
Follow the ordinance.
follow the ordinance.
And noise.
And noise also follows the
Right.
ordinance. Okay. Do we have a second for that motion?
I'll second that.
Mr. Johnson seconds it. Mr. Howe proposed it. Brenda, would you give us a roll call?
Powell,
Yes?
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
No,
Long,
Yes.
Maynard.
Yeah.
Motion passed. Thank you, sir, for coming in and doing things the correct way. Appreciate it.
Yep, thank you.
Next, docket 05 BZA V-22, Timothy and Donna Cole, 3502 South 400 East Marion. Residential suburban is the zoning district. Thank you, and would you sign in, please? Ryan, would you introduce this petition?
Okay. This is a petition for a development standard variance from the area-wide zoning ordinance to build a pole barn or a storage building to a 0 setback from the west of the property line. Area is zoned residential suburban, which would require a minimum 17-foot setback. This property went in front of the commissioners this morning for a rezone.
No.
No, never mind, it's wrong posted, sorry. Here we are. Yeah,
Let's start over, Ryan.
it went in for a recommendation for a special exception.
Variance.
Or a variance, I wrote rezone for some reason. The commissioners did put forth a favorable recommendation for a special exception. One of the things on our staff report that we did note, according to the GIS, the property line runs along the edge of the gravel driveway on the west. If you see the pictures, I tried to do the best I could there. With the property line according to GIS, that leaves almost a 20-foot gap between the gravel and the tree line, and another 10 to 20 foot of tree line before the adjacent property. In looking at our GIS, if you look at the aerial that I put in there with the circle, we have pretty good reason to believe that the GIS is incorrect. The circle is showing the septic system of the neighbor's property. For these property lines to be correct would mean that the health department and area plan allowed the neighbor to build half of their septic system into these people's property. So what we have talked about and looked at, knowing that those lines are off, was whether or not, because we had talked about a survey, do we want them to spend $1,000 on a survey for something we know is already incorrect on our end, or $100 to come in for a variance and talk to you guys? So the variance would put them at a 0 setback to the GIS property line, which we already know is incorrect.
Basically, it's gonna be the building would be the tree line.
No, the building would be in line with the property line on the GIS,
Yeah,
even though we know the property line needs to be about 20 more feet to the west.
yeah, so really, the true property line, would, like he said, would be about the tree line.
Somewhere in that area.
Yeah.
I do have there's not a right of way?
No, there is
There's no right of
no,
way, but there's still 37 feet?
right. That's why I tried to, in the picture, show you the property line ends here, and here's half a football field to the tree line.
We're 37 feet away from what they're wanting to do. They'll be got plenty of space.
Right,
It's really not a zero then.
right. According to our GIS as it is, it would
What
be
he's
0.
saying, their map,
According to what you're telling us, the GI.
This would
he's
put it,
right on the property line, but they know
Yeah.
they have to be wrong.
I was out there and there's a lot of space in between there.
and as you're aware, we are meeting next Monday to look at new software with Schneider Elevate that's going to help some of these zoning and property line issues. We keep running into a lot of our public hearings that we're having due to things that we already know are not correct.
Sir, how long have you lived there?
A year and a half.
A year and a half. Was the property surveyed when you purchased it?
No.
Okay. Do you have, from the previous owner, any stakes or identifying markers where the property line is?
I know where 3 of the 4 are. So based on that, 165 feet across, I can tell where the property marker should be at the northwest corner.
Okay.
But I can't find it. I think the tree has grown over it.
Okay.
But, and based on that, going down through, it's a question of whether there's a tree row with a fence through there that is about 20 feet maybe beyond the gravel of our driveway. And we think that's where the property line is supposed to be. But it's showing it just basically right along the edge of our gravel, which is where we want to set the building.
Right.
So what I said in the beginning, to be
Yeah, so I think we're really, if we would have a resurvey and spend $1,000 to do that, I think we would probably be within bounds of where we need to be. But it was easier to do the 0 variance.
Okay, well, in this situation, it is at your risk. We are not verifying or approving where the property line is. That would be, in this case, your responsibility. Don't know what the future holds. I realize beyond the tree line is not any other land that's built on right now. And is this a road coming along here? I was on it, but I didn't really know if that's a road or a drive.
That is a driveway.
It's
And
a part of your driveway?
it crosses each one of the 4 properties out to 400.
So it's a shared driveway?
Yeah, shared drive.
Yeah, subdivision
Subdivision?
with the covenants.
Y'all have right of way?
Yeah.
Okay. Don't know what the future holds. I mean, at some point, one could say, if somebody developed the land beyond that and extended that driveway down, those things could come to pass. It's just want to make sure you understand it's your responsibility. If you're looking at a sizable building and some expense, if it was me, I'd want to be sure. But if you're pretty sure and you want to go for it, then we're here.
The one thing about the building is we opted to go with a portable building, 16 foot by 40, that's basically on skids. It'll be pre-built, brought in and set there. So it could be moved if it needed to be.
All right, the size of that building, when I was looking at the size of the building, I thought, you're building it into a foundation.
No, it's gonna actually.
They'll use the manufacturer stakes.
Okay, all right, that's.
So if we have to move it.
That's
we
even
can
less
get it
risk,
moved.
yes. Okay, thanks for sharing that. All right. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Okay, you may be seated.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone here in opposition to this petition?
Well, since he's a Pirate fan, I probably would have to be in opposition.
We'll consider that too.
Strike again.
Okay. All right, public hearing's now closed. Discussion among the board members this time.
There wasn't no opposition in this.
Any opposition here?
Okay.
Sounds like he's got his bases covered.
Yep.
All right. Do I have a motion?
I will make that motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion. Chip Long, second. Rex Meyer. Brenda, would you give us a roll call?
Powell,
Hesitantly, yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Maynard.
Yes.
Motion passed. Thank you for coming in and following the procedure. Appreciate it. You have your exception or variance.
So next step, we'll be ready to stand in and.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, at that time, Mr. Persinger, do you have anything to share?
No.
Okay. Mr. Malat, do you have anything to report?
We answered two of my 4 rules of procedure and then what direction we wanted to go with Jared on finding out on him. One of the things I noted is the BZA county IDs. I'm going to try to get with area plan commission too and try to upgrade everyone's badges and stuff if we're out in the field so that everyone's got identification on site inspections.
I asked today, I said, I've got a badge if you'd like. She said, oh, no, I know what you're doing. Oh, okay.
I still got mine when you gave us about 2 years ago.
Yeah. But we've got a lot of new members on APC and stuff, and I think it'd be better just to make sure everyone's got updated. The other thing I had is really more of just an example for you guys to kind of see. Some of this will go with rules of procedure when we're looking at a special exception. The special exception, our ordinance versus rules of procedure versus our staff report versus the paperwork you fill out versus the application are all different. So, we know we've got this problem in the office as far as needing to get through rules of procedure, needing to get through the ordinance, needing to get through But this is one that just came up as we were doing one of these for the public hearing, that I looked at this and I looked at this and wait a minute, these aren't the same, and I looked at this and this isn't the same. So if you see there at the beginning, first page, our area-wide ordinance, it calls for 3 questions. That matches the state. When we get into our rules of procedure, you'll see there's 6 questions. When you get into your finding of facts, there are 3 questions. When you get into the staff report, they've added all 3 questions plus an additional 5 questions. And then when you get into the application, they've done 3 questions and then added another 5. So some of these questions are part of the area-wide ordinance. If we go through rules of procedure, there's 6 questions. But just again, nothing to super solve tonight. It's just kind of showing you we've got some work to do to kind of, I think we've done something with this one year and this another year, and so let's coordinate everything.
For 4 or 5 years, we didn't fill out paperwork.
Right.
We didn't even do it.
Yeah.
We just walked out.
So that's,
We just walked out.
Yeah. Brian, would you like to tell them also, I know this is not part of the BZA, but tell them a little bit about the program that you're looking at to make the office better?
the software.
Yeah.
The software we have will take a lot of this. We're hoping to get through, and right now we've got the council and commissioners behind us. It will be night and day, because right now the programs that we're using are still 1997 software. It's for Schneider geo permitting is what we're looking at, but it's something that the entire building can use. It takes everything by parcel, so anything area plan puts onto that parcel, health department and the rest of the building can see. There's code enforcement cases if the health department's been there and okayed septic. Highway department's okayed the highway permit. Everything stays on one parcel. It also allows contractors to fill out their own permits. And it will actually be, right now, we talk about, Grace right now is our permits clerk. But she's got a stack of stuff that we're missing this, or we're missing that, or we're missing this from contractors to issue permits. If the contractors do the permits themselves, they will not be able to submit the permits until they're fully filled out. They'll be able to pay for it. By the time we get it, they're done. So they can actually even schedule. So for our department, it's like adding a full-time employee is what the amount of time it's going to save us. But with that said, a lot of this stuff can also go in.
Yeah. And like when they're filling out certain things, I went to the meeting, so if it needs to go to the health department, it kind of reads, oh, this needs to go to health department. He'll send it down there to them. Brian won't have to say send it. Or what they said too, if you got a laptop out in the field, you'll be able to do it right on the laptop out in the field, so I have to take note, come back and retype it back in.
So a lot of stuff right now is if we need to know if there's septic information, we've got to come down to environmental. They've got 3 separate programs for septic in the county that they have to check to try to see if they've got any records on the property where we're working. It just solves all that.
Yeah. So really, if the county buys this program, about everybody in the county can start using the sites there.
So what you're saying, we're 30 years behind, is what you're saying.
When you buy something today, they'll tell you if you buy a computer today, 6 months later, you're out.
You're saying like 30 years.
Yeah.
1997 is when our software got put in. We brought a member of the commission, council, IT, 3 department heads, Rex, me. We brought them all down here and did a presentation right here, and we showed them our software. So it was just, you could see
So
it
it's
was night
25 years
and
old.
day.
And they would all answer us like, oh, did you do that? And we all ask this, and we do this. They was good, they
The
would get.
department heads seeing it for the first
I
time,
didn't know
took
nothing
over.
about the program. I just showed up to see what was going on.
How many software companies have we looked at?
We looked at Cloud Shield, DocuSign. We did a presentation with DocuSign too. The problem we run into is most of them are our office only. And like DocuSign was our office only, but they wanted an additional $20,000. Geo-permitting actually owns Elevate, or the GIS that our whole building uses. They bought Elevate, and they're eventually going to move our Elevate over to Beacon Snyder GIS. So it's already someone the entire building uses is bringing in this software. So April, like in our auditor's office, who does a lot of the property stuff, already deals with Beacon. So it's easy enough for her to step in. I mean, that's the biggie, is that everyone already uses the company that we're bringing in. But everyone's got different software.
Now, I was on a team of 6 individuals that selected the mainframe software that we use at Red Gold in 1995. And even though that sounds like ancient history, they have an update every couple of years. Now, you have to pay to update every couple of years. What is this company's track record on updates?
They have given us four different ways that we can do it with a contract. Our hope is, they've got he just sent it to me too. I just emailed it to you. It's
like they could come like so many times a year or more times or something, really.
Yeah, we can start off with like $32,000 for setup. Now, that's not just our office, that's the building. And then it's $7,000 annually, and they're here two times a month after startup. Then they're here 2 times a month to go through and update whatever needs to be, or to help us with workflow. The hope is that they will train IT, because IT's in with it, they're fine with IT. They said either we can carry the ball, you can carry the ball, or we'll both carry the ball. So the goal is to get our IT department familiar with, so that they can get into the software and change it too. There's another one where it's $7,000 to start, $30,000 a year, and they're here twice a week. So that's something following our presentation next Monday that we're going to sit down with Mark Bardsley, Shane Middlesworth, Rex, and I to start looking at those type of contracts. The commissioners basically at this point said to come present it to them. They'll take it and present it to the council. They may look at putting it into ARP money or putting it into IT's budget. So it may not cost us anything to update.
It looks like to me that they're interested in putting it in the IT for the whole building.
Well, being from the whole building using that, if that happened, would the payments come up from different
Well, that's what I'm saying.
departments?
They're looking to use the ARP money, or if it's going to be building wide, we have actually got the whole building plus some outside offices coming in. It would just go into IT's budget. Because that's
How
why
many people are looking at this on your team?
Well, it started, me and Brenda's watched it, and then we went through the presentation, and I brought the whole office in for a presentation to look at, and then we branched out and brought commissioner, council, 3 department heads,
The
IT.
health department.
Yeah. So from coming out of that, now they're going to do a presentation for the whole building to see who all's interested.
Where is IT at in this process?
As far as,
Do they Have they been serving on this team that's looking at?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they were at the presentation. I talked to them before it started.
Okay, but really you've only found one company that's kind of qualified to do this so far.
Oh, there's 100 out there. We've talked to, we've done 2 presentations. We've talked to, I can't remember, it's Cloud something. But we actually had them set in on the last one.
Yeah. Well, we actually had 3 players in it that could do what we wanted, and then it became a competitive bid situation.
We've only found Schneider to be someone who would go throughout the building. Everyone else has permit programs, but it's for us.
Okay, so really you've only found one at this point.
Yeah, only one that could interconnect the whole building.
I'd push for more research.
Oh, I said,
Just if I was,
yeah,
you know, if I was doing it.
IT, we talked to them, we looked at the permitting and stuff. Like I said, I wanted to present it. The office was in love with it. Okay, let's take the next step. Is this even possible? So we brought it to APC, we presented it, showed it to others. And again, with DocuSign, it was 50,000 startup. And this was gonna come in at 30. Or that's one of the possibilities.
You also have to kind of be careful of when you if you get into a competitive bid situation, that you're sure of what you're getting. Or they may cut specs on you and you may get a system that's kind of slow, doesn't have everything you thought it would.
But we've got Pulaski County that we can go look at. They just put it in Miami County. So following Monday's meeting, we're gonna talk to them about trying to get Brenda, Rhonda Wiley, April, to get over to Miami County and see, because this even goes into property splits and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, site visits.
So that's, we're gonna try. The Miami County director was on one of our presentations, and they are early into it and talking about, different things that they've been able to do with it. And while he's talking about all this stuff he's being able to do and what he was running into and everything, Nicole and these guys ran into my office and said, "Oh my God, that's you." Because he was talking about all the stuff we needed.
And they said they could program it. If you have something you want to tweet into it, they can do it just especially for your office or stuff. They can, everything. And the reason I wanted you guys to hear this, since I'm the AP chairman, this will affect you guys too. The AP makes decisions, but what happens in the office affects you guys too.
Yeah. When we did our first rollout, we did quite a bit of that custom programming for every department that wanted a little something. And then we realized a year and a half later, when they rolled out their new version, we were gonna have to pay for that all again. So then we went back to all the departments and said, try and learn the standard software, because we're gonna charge you for your custom work, and that's gonna come around every couple of years. So we wanna go with the standard. Every department ended up learning the standard version without the custom programming, except for a couple small exceptions that we had to have done. And that greatly cut the cost of the custom programming, so it was just a cautionary tale there.
That's what we're hoping. We're hoping at some point IT can get familiar enough with it that they can do most of the work.
Because that'll cut some of the costs.
I think standard first contract is 3 years, is what they were saying. And then beyond that, it's up to us to
And
renew.
they
And
work with the IT and train them.
Yeah.
So if they could learn it, you wouldn't have to use them as much, and that cuts costs.
I guess the only question I have, is there a lot of duplication that you're worried about? Or is it just affecting, it does it for everybody? Because it sounds like it's a duplication where somebody doesn't know what this department does.
Yeah, that's
I'm not
exactly-
sure.
I'll
If
tell
you're,
you-
if you're going out in the field and saying, I wanna know about the sewage,
I can't get it unless I go to the health department.
that's what I'm saying, is that a duplication?
I'll give you a good example. It's the one I always use. About 4 years ago, Bob was still here, and we had a demolition order on a house over by Van Buren. And Bob gave me the demo signs to go post on the house, and this was on a Monday. We were starting a demo on a Friday. So when I was out and about as building inspector, I go to this house, I walk up to the door to put the sign on the door, and the door opens. And a lady says, "Can I help you?" And I said, "You're not living here, are you?" She said, "Yeah, I just bought the house last week." I said, "Well, we're tearing it down Friday." If the recorder's office, and if that would have been flagged, it would have saved that situation.
Yeah. I remember that.
So that, I mean, that house is still being worked on now, but we worked it out. But I mean, it saves that. Anyone can get on there and say, "Hey, wait a minute, we've got a case on this."
Yeah. And what this program does a lot of times, the way I took it, if we send something out, or it kind of realized this needs to go up here too, to this department that sends it on.
Yeah, there's so much.
Yeah.
Aaron, right now, we've got about 9 books about that thick of open permits up there. And like we've done for years, we spend most of the winter trying to catch up, trying to touch everything. This program will actually, we can set it to say, we haven't seen it in 6 months, it'll generate an email. It'll generate friendly reminders and stuff, instead of us having to go. If the permit's expiring, it'll generate expirations. It's just, we sound like a kid in the candy store, but compared to what we've got right now, it will do so much for us that we are spinning our wheels on.
Well, I don't have no money in my pocket, but 32,000 doesn't seem that much, and that's what it does.
Right.
For the whole, and outsiders too, you got outside offices?
You could take your phone to any permit in the county with this software, do the QR code, and know everything about that property, who's done inspections, what's been okayed.
Go ahead, you got money, give me 32,000.
I'll write you a check tomorrow.
Sounds good.
It's in the
Hey,
mail.
he says you're a rich farmer then.
No, I didn't say that.
And again,
Well, I
we
think
went
he
through
was
it.
thinking that.
We went through the presentation, and Shane Middlesworth called the next day and was like, "What's next? What's the next step?" And even the commissioners, hey, what should we do next? We got it okay through APC, bring it back to us.
But I think right now, the way it looked when I was coming in, either the council or the commissioners is gonna push to find a way to pay for it. It ain't gonna, his budget now, I don't think they'll touch it, I think they'll find a way. But I wanted you guys to know that.
Okay, is there anything else on the agenda? We have time for an open public forum. If anyone here would like to speak, yes, sir, would you come to the podium and sign in, please?
Commissioner Board, thanks for allowing me to step up to the podium. My name is Jeremy Taylor. I own the property in 103 South Main Street in Sweetser. I've had the property for about a year and a half, almost 2 years, in the process of remodeling it from the inside out. Trying to take a eyesore of the city and try to make it into something beautiful. But I got red flag. I was adding a porch onto the front of the house from my knowledge, knowing you always take the road, half of the road, from the edge of the road towards the house is your easement. But I wasn't aware of utility poles of overhead distribution that has to be so many feet from the cross arm. Spoke with Ryan, spoke with town board, Ed Beatty, Dave Fox, and they've all given me the approval to proceed with the porch. I've spoken with AEP, they've given me approval. Spoke with Dave Fox, of course, for the cable and fiber optics. He's given me approval. Gas line does not run in that adjacent part. It's up to the right of the house. So I'm here to state my case to see if I can proceed with my porch, adding it on to make my property beautiful so I can put it on the market by the end of the month.
What's his?
Okay, Ryan, has he talked to you?
Yeah, we've talked several times.
All right, what do you need from us?
He would need a zero setback, because it is like an 1840, it was the old train hotel.
Old Sweetser Hotel. It was in Sweetser before Sweetser was Sweetser.
Yeah, so he is right up on, he's I'm trying to remember, is it 3 foot?
Yeah, so according to your drawings, the easement is 3 foot in front of my front door, according to the books.
When we found it, he had already built the front deck or porch was beyond the property line into the right of way. And he was in the process of putting a roof on it. When we came over and we tried to talk to him, but we put a stop work order out because it's, you're not only too close on setbacks, you're into the right of way. It sounds like he's taking the steps to get the okay for the right of way. The problem is, I believe, he is wanting to sell it in a month and a half.
I want to put it on the market by the end of the month.
You guys don't meet till August.
Do you have a permit to start this demo?
He had a permit for an interior remodel. We hadn't talked about anything on the outside.
I was gonna say the porch is on
So
one side.
we've had that conversation.
And I don't have a problem, which I did stop. I will get the permit to proceed, if it's okay to proceed. So,
Well, it would be included with his remodel. It's usually, remodel is all encompassing. We just weren't aware of it. And had we been aware of the porch at the beginning of the process, it would have raised a red flag. And generally, Aaron would go over for an initial walkthrough to get the scope of the work, and it wasn't brought up then, so it didn't raise a red flag then. It didn't raise it until he's $2,000 into it. And we're going, oh, wait a minute.
Did he not know that he needed a permit, or did he not know?
He had a remodel permit.
Okay, but he
Didn't have a drawing.
You didn't
submitted.
Everything we had was interior work.
Okay,
We weren't aware of the exterior work, or we would have talked about it.
Okay. So a drawing wasn't submitted then. So,
Yeah, we thought everything was inside.
So could we do something tonight for him, or we have to wait till next week?
It's a variance, gotta be published.
I spoke to my neighbor to the left, which is the only neighbor. Of course, he is okay with it. And I've also spoken with the neighbor on the other side of him, and he's okay with it. But I have no other neighbors to my right or left or in front of me or behind me. And it's right adjacent with the walkway.
And I think this came to light rather recently, and you missed the deadline for this month.
Correct.
Okay. I guess I'll ask the board, would you consider meeting July 5th?
Still won't help him if he wanted to sell it.
It's gonna end in June.
Which I'm okay with that.
I mean,
Because it won't take me
that's
long.
about the best time. You know,
I'll give you enough time.
that gives them time to submit.
2
and
months from now.
We made the July meeting contingent on if we had business that warranted, having a meeting.
May I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
If, Ben's, I'm here at the meeting and I brought it to the attention. Since I brought it to the attention, can we send out the letters for the 10 days? And then after the 10 days, nobody objects, then
We have to follow the process that is actually.
no, I just wanted to ask. I have not a problem waiting for another week or two after in July. Because ultimately the house is just flat on the front, I mean.
Yeah.
And I want something to give it that curb appeal to make it look really, really nice for Sweetser.
So is the porch cement?
No, it's a deck porch. I got a lot of money in the decking because of course inflation, but.
I understand you might be able to move the decking though.
I can, but it's only to 3 foot, and I can't have a 3 foot deck or porch. It'll look kind of goofy on the front of the house. My opinion.
Yeah, it's small. That would be small.
The other thing we talked about was, as far, it's not attached to the house, it's not over 200 square foot, it's not 30 inches off of grade. As long as he doesn't attach it to the house or put a roof on it, it doesn't even require a permit.
Right.
But at the same note, if he's in the right of way, someone could come pick it up and move it tomorrow. Just, kind of making him aware of that. I've talked to Chuck Brady over there, who was going to get a hold of Dave Fox, and it doesn't sound like they've got too much of an issue with it. They think it looks good and would be a great idea. And I said, I agree with that, but you're still in the right of way, and you're still too close.
You're gonna run out of minutes here.
Let me ask you a question. If you were not to attach it at this point and not put a top roof on it, could he build that now off the building itself and then come back and apply for a variance so that he could put a roof on it and do the other things?
You could build just the deck.
It's already done on the deck.
Well, the deck is already done.
Yeah, that's what we kind of called it while he was getting ready to put the roof on it. That's what we said. Well,
But it is now attached.
No. I never attached the deck to the house. I got pillars underneath supporting the deck.
Yeah, okay. It's right up to the house, though.
Correct,
Yeah.
but it's, I mean.
But right now, wouldn't even need a permit.
If it's just a floating, less than 30 inches off grade, non-attached deck, he wouldn't need a permit, under 200 square foot.
So he puts a roof on it.
Now, he's got to attach the roof.
That's a different subject.
Yeah.
That's a different story there. That's one of them problems.
Okay.
Was he ever on the agenda to be heard?
No.
Or what was the reason why
No.
not?
We're not on the agenda, and we can't do anything on it today.
Cause why you
That's
wasn't on the
what I'm saying. What
agenda?
I'm saying is, when we had this agenda for the people that we've seen today.
This just happened last week.
Okay,
The
then-
agenda
You
went
didn't
out.
get, you didn't get a
He
time
passed
date
the
on it.
deadline.
Okay, so then
He'd have to wait,
the next.
and we don't meet in July. Way our world's set, he'd have to wait till August. And we're trying to figure out a way that we can satisfy him, him waiting 2 months.
But if he doesn't put a roof over it, doesn't matter.
I was gonna say, it
Not our
doesn't matter
problem.
whether he doesn't put a roof on or
Let's
not.
put the roof.
It's not, well,
Then he could put just a permit, couldn't he?
yeah, it's not our problem right now if he doesn't have a roof.
It doesn't matter, but it's still overset. It's,
Still in the right way.
Correct.
That right away gets in trouble.
Sounds like
But that right of way's gonna be in force anyway, right? Even if we give a variance to it, and
we would have to give a variance for our part. And he's going through and getting Sweetser, AEP, cable. He's trying to get okays from.
Because they're the ones that are running through the,
Right.
or could potentially be running through the right of way.
And I have the okay from everybody. I just need the 10-day, I guess, for my mistaken.
Yeah.
hey, you gotta advertise.
We're gonna have the pictures, the report, the whole process. So, really, I could see a July 5th meeting if you want to proceed and you talk to Mr. Malat and confirm it to us in a week, okay?
Okay.
If I need to call a special meeting. Question is, do you guys have any vacations planned for July, first week of July?
I could have.
In which case, we might not have a quorum. Now, if that's gonna be an issue, because we're already one guy down, or one person down.
Why can't we have it in August? What's the reason for not having it in August? What's the reason?
Well, he would like to sell the property.
He's
We've
trying
got
to,
September, October, November, December.
but what he's trying to do, Lois, he's fixing this up real quick, and then
I
he's
know
wanting
about
to flip
houses.
it real fast.
I know
That
about
way he ain't
people.
gonna lose, if he waits, he could be losing some money. And we're just trying to help him.
I'm trying to get it on the market while the market's still good.
Yeah.
And I know it's not your problem, it's mine, but I'm trying to do everything by the right way. I don't want to do it illegally, I want to do it by the book.
If you got that one, I have nothing against it.
I don't have a problem with it. That-
I should be here. If not, I got a telephone, I know how to use it.
You could come on by video.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll tentatively say we'll be available July 5th
Thank you.
at 6 p.m.
I'll be here.
And if you guys go forward this
You're
week.
fixing hot dogs.
So,
You're fixing hot dogs.
I'll bring some dogs, oh man, I appreciate that.
Then we'll call a special meeting at the end of this week. Pretty much go.
Thank you, sir.
Get with me.
All right, thanks. Appreciate
You're
your
welcome.
time.
If there's no new business, we'll close this meeting.
I'd make that motion.
You were right, I'd get talking, we'd be here.